Everybody, good to see you. All these
Man,
people,
I'll tell you what.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Wally.
no, I was going to say all these people want all these things. I hope I can answer everybody's questions, for God's sakes. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Are you
I'm
the
kidding.
bug or are you the windshield?
It happened.
Guys, I'll tell you what, that's exactly why we have Wally on today's call. You know, Wally's been in the business for years, and I hope be able to tell you a little bit more about his story. But what I can tell you about Wally is my man Wally is a linguistic genius. You guys have objections. You guys have been hearing things over the phone, in person, some things that you feel like you might be able to say better. This will be the guy that you can bring it to. And on top of that, too, we're going to teach you guys how to get more listings and how to price your home right so that it can sell. So, Wally, why don't you guys get us started just a little bit? I know, man, your background is extensive. You've been doing a lot of work with so many great people, been helping in so many different ways in the real estate industry. What are some of the ways that you've been helping in the last, get in your real estate career?
When you say extensive, is that your nice way of saying that I'm old?
That's when I say he's a veteran in the industry, that's when he gets old. Yeah.
There's lots of ways to tell somebody that they're old. Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. It's funny. You're literally like 30 minutes down the road from me. So, yeah, that's the second time you've come to Dallas, and I've missed you. My timing is way off. Anyway,
I'm here till Friday.
Yeah. Well, through Friday.
Yeah, I'm Friday night.
Well, I'm leaving for Kansas. I'm going to see my daughter in college for the 21st birthday.
Oh, are you?
Kansas of all places. Dorothy's not there. All right, good to see everybody here. Thanks for having me. My name is Wally Bressler, and Nick and I have become good friends over the last several months, and you guys are very fortunate to be connected with him on a regular basis because he brings a ridiculous amount of value to the table on a daily basis. So he's a great guy, and thank you so much. Just a little bit about me. I've been in the business since 1998. Trying to think here, my first year in the business, I sold 72 houses in about 14 months. And then I helped grow.
Your first year in the business.
First 14 months, yeah, I sold 72 houses. And then,
wow.
It wasn't just me. I got connected with the right person. You know what I'm saying? Being in the right system helps tremendously, So, and then I helped build, one of the biggest Coldwell Banker franchises in the world. We were number 3 for buyer controlled sales for like 4 years in a row. I've been coaching agents since 2001, and I've worked with, like you said, some of the most successful agents in the United States and Canada, and I've been very fortunate in that respect. I've been coaching full time probably since 2016. Work with James and Michael Reese, all those guys, and so and now I have my I do that. I also have my own company, Phone Sales Secrets, where people overcome sales call reluctance and become aces on the phone. So very, very blessed, very fortunate, and today I'm here to help you folks with getting more listings, pricing properties properly, and who mentioned that was that Kirk? You were talking about understanding the market better. Is that right?
Yeah, as it shifts right now, definitely.
Yeah. So, and I think we'll start there. I was actually, we it's funny because when I work with Jay and Mike directly, I still do, but a little more indirectly. But when I was coaching with them, we started the coaching company in 2008, right? So the Titanic had basically taken on most of the mistake, and it was just a matter of it. Now that it's snapped in half for the second part to pop up. So let's talk real quickly of just. I'm going to kind of share. Is it okay if I share my screen? You give me that. Ability?
So that's
okay, cool.
if you can let them share screen this room.
Oh, it says disabled. Let me check here.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So
let's go.
All right, so a couple things. I just want to kind of go through a few things with you, so we can kind of have an idea of what to say to people, because your ability to price a home properly is 100% predicated on what you know about the national market, the regional market, and the local market. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You got to lead people to their own conclusions. Just telling somebody they're going to price their home properly is not the solution. You've got to show them, right? Show me is better than tell me. So we're going to go all the way back to 1955. I don't know if there's anybody here that's old enough to have been there, but no, you know what? I did this on a lark, but it really makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I just did it. Who's that there? Sarah Ware smiled when I said that. Were you born in 1955? You're just aging well, Heather. Sarah, is that it? Sarah's actually 67. She just doesn't look it. Right?
Sarah's actually a time traveler.
Yeah, right. Sarah's like, that's right. Thank you.
And she time traveled just to listen to Wally. That's saying something, Wally.
I bought one of the first Edsels, So anyway, So I do this to make a point here, okay? And here's
Yeah.
the point. If you go, for goodness sake, stop that. All right, for goodness sakes. I don't want, no. Oh my goodness.
See,
Please.
that's why we show up to my call for technology, guys.
Hey, listen, I'm a sales guy. It's not my
Yeah.
thing. All right, let's try this again here.
All right.
We go back to
There we
that.
go.
Obviously it's different, right? But there's only one huge dip in the last 60 plus years, almost 70 years. You see that?
Yeah.
That's it. It's the only time we had a ginormous dip in almost the last 70 years. Right?
Wow.
The only other time it happened before this was back during the Great Depression, right? So you can go back almost 70 years and there's only one time where the market tanked. Okay. And other than that, it's steady as she goes. In fact, up until this point, if you had taken any 7 or 8 year segment in the real estate market, you were looking at about an 8% return year over year. That makes sense? So
Yeah.
the first thing we have to explain to people is that the chances of this happening again are
Right.
ridiculously remote. Okay. Right. Number one, number two. And here's the thing, despite COVID and whatnot, and we'll go to this one next. So this is basically home prices since 1987. Okay. And so this is from the St. Louis Fed, but here's, obviously it's a lot more dramatic when you cut it down like this, but a couple things to make note of here. Okay. Anybody know what this is? This was the double dip recession at the end of the 80s right here. So this is when when HW took over, right?
Yeah.
This is the double dip recession. This right here. What was this? This was the dot-com bubble, right? Dot-com. We all know what this was. This is the Great Recession. This right here is COVID, right? So other than this one, no other significant financial crises did anything significant to the market. Does that make sense? And you could argue, and not argue, it's quite factual that the mortgage meltdown, the real estate meltdown caused the recession. In fact, they'll go and tell you that because all the financials, the banks were lending money to anybody who could fog a mirror. Banks were not keeping themselves, well stocked with cash. They were lending as much as they can. They were just trying to make as much money as they can. They invested in all kinds of bad crap. They were giving people 125% of the value of their home. I mean, it was just a meltdown. Institutions that had been around forever were gone, right?
Yeah.
Pearson Lehman, bye-bye. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my whole point is, you have to be able to explain to people and you have to understand things on a historical perspective that recessions, and we are physically, technically in a recession, right? 2 consecutive quarters of decreased GDP means that there's a recession. However, interest rates are high, obviously, but joblessness is still way down, only like 3.2% unemployment, right? I think last quarter, 400,000 new jobs were created, right? And people, even though HELOCs are the highest they've been since 2006 and 7, people still have more equity in their home than they've ever had before. Foreclosure activity went down 0.75 points last month. Okay. So it's, we've got this settling, but it's not like now let's just go. And so let's continue. So we've gone here back to 1955 when Sarah was born. And then we're now here, 1987 when Nick was born. And when were you born, by the way, Nick?
1994.
Oh God, for God's sake. All right, anyway, so we take a look at that, and now let's go locally. So Kirk, you said you're from Raleigh, right?
Yep, Kirk Keys.
Yep. So anyway, here's the deal. This is free. If you go to Altos Research, I suggest everybody do this. It's a free resource. All right, you go to
Guys, we'll be
Altos.
able to send that to you guys in an email after. Any links or any places that we talk about, references that we use, we'll make sure we send you guys after this in the email as well.
I'll drop this in the chat here. Let me go back and get those this other
Oh, well, we'll send it out in the email after.
Okay,
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so you go back in the recording. So, all right, so we got that. So now, let's just take a look locally, right? So we're talking to people like if you don't have real market reports, if you don't have keeping current matters, you got to
keep those current matters.
Yeah, you got to be able to, like, being an expert. And this is it. Just so let me stop sharing for a second here. Like the thing that helped us help. Like I feel like Jerry Maguire, help me help you. The things that helped real estate agents back during the Great Recession was teaching them how to differentiate themselves by being an expert. All that staging we have that you guys do now, all that pre-home inspection, all that home warranties, that all started during the Great Recession because there were so many houses on the market. We had to find a way to get homes to stand out, right?
Right.
So we had to differentiate ourselves and show people why they had to pick us. And then we had to give them a way to differentiate their home so it stood out among all the other homes. There's my man, Brian O'Neill. What's up? That's my boy right there. That's my boy.
Yeah.
He's got a great story. I'm going to tell his story before we go because it is phenomenal. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I loves him. All right. So anyway, that's a tattooed agent there, boys and girls. So here's the deal. You're going to go here. This is free. You're going to go here and you're going to go to market reports. And I'm going to go, okay. So I'm going to go to Raleigh. Okay. And you can print this out, or I'd rather you bring it up on your computer because it's got some nice UI that you can connect with people. We'll just any zip codes will do, right, Kirk?
Oh, wow.
I mean, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Holy shnikes, Batman.
Yeah.
So
A lot of zip codes around. Yeah.
All right. So Altos, I'm just going to grab all of Raleigh right here. Okay. So here's the thing. Altos Research tracks every listing that is on the market in every city across the United States every day. I'll say it again. Every listing in every city across the United States every day. All right. And this is real-time data right here, right? So we're pretty close, like within a week or so.
Wow. Yeah.
August 19th, right? Pretty close, right? So here's the deal. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, and we'll start down here, right? So literally 3 months ago, the market action was 90.44, which means this thing was almost pinned, right?
Wow.
3 months ago, right? Now we go to today and we are still in a seller's market, right? Okay, seller's market really just has to do with the amount of inventory that's on the market, right? And most likely you guys are still, most places around the country are still at 3 months or less inventory, which makes it a seller's market, right? So okay, so we look at all the homes that are on the market. We're like, okay, so the homes that have been on the market, 499.9, so about 500,000 is the average, a median list price for home that's been on the market. Anything being listed now is about $50,000 less, right? $55,000 less. You see this right here?
Yeah.
You have somebody who, in the term when somebody's on the highway doing 80 miles an hour and then gets off and keeps driving 60, even though it's 45, is called velocitation, right? It's a real term, swear to God.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna create a term.
Listen, I have mastered the English
Yeah.
language at a very high level, but that's actually a word. That is not like
I believe it. Yeah.
Remember Sniglets? You know what I'm saying? Like Blint, belly button lint was Blint. It's not like that. All right. So anyway, it's velocitation. It's and so sellers have velocitation. They've been seeing this market go crazy, and even though things have slowed down, they're still going fast. So remember, show me is always better than tell me. So I go nationally and I show them those nice 2 charts I sent you. I would get KCM and pull probably 5 or 6 slides out of that for the regional, what's going on regionally. And then I'd get hyper local as much as I could, not just for the neighborhood, but also city. And
so Wally, let me ask you this, because we're on here how to win more listings and how to price right to sell, right? So utilizing this data, if I was looking to utilize this to differentiate myself and to win more listings, what are some of the different ways that you can do that utilizing the data that you see right here?
That's what I'm getting to.
Yep.
But I appreciate it. I'm just trying to show a couple more things and then show how we can use it.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Sir. Right. So anyway, so I would do the big stuff like KCM and the two big charts that I showed you from Fred for the last 40 years and then the last 70 years. I would do that at the beginning of my presentation and show them that I understand the market, right? And then as it came to pricing, I would kind of go over these things, and then because here's the thing, like when you can establish yourself as an expert, when people see your authority and credibility, when it comes time to pricing the home, you have a much better chance of getting the price to home properly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You guys with me on that? So I think it's important that you spend 10, 15 minutes as part of your listing presentation in the beginning, going over KCM, going over that Fred report, that other report that I showed, and help people understand, hey, listen, here's the good news. Okay. Oh, and here's another thing. Just let me show you one other thing here you probably can show people. There's a method to my madness, I promise. Statistia, homes sold in the US. So here's the other thing. This is important to show to people as well, and for you guys to understand. So this is total number of homes sold from 2005 and what's projected for this year and next year. Okay. And so, right, even if the market were to tank, there's still lots of homes sold, but you need to know that basically since 2013 or the last 8 years, we've sold at least 5 to 6 million homes a year. Right. So again, and even if things started to settle, we're still in that range. What's been hard is that there are 500,000 more realtors now than there were back in 13, almost 600,000 realtors and about 800,000 real estate agents. So I wanted to show you that too. So now here's the deal. So I'm with my client and, you know, I've done my research. I found out their timing, their motivation, their goals. I found out what I think the price of their home is. If you're not doing a seller counseling, whenever you need to do that, right? So, and then, you know, so I found
So
out
what is the seller counselor's interview before we jump past that?
it's basically a one-page document where I can show it to you if you want.
Yeah, let's go through that really quick. Because I know from working at the call center, because as I have a call center background, you know, I used to call 15 hours a day. And I'm much like Wally has a very extensive calling background as well. The seller counseling interview was the make it or break it for actually being able to convert on these leads. Having this completely filled out and having all these questions answered is one of the ways that we either got the listings or we did not get the listings. Being able to make sure that you're armed with the right resources, the right tools, the right information going into a listing appointment. This thing right here is an absolute game changer.
So these are just basically the questions that you would ask, and I can turn this into a document for you.
Yeah.
But basically, you know, you're getting the information from the person, contact time, whoever set the appointment, the lead source, how'd you hear about us? Then you confirm information about the house. I mean, these days, you know, these days you have tax information directly available through the MLS, right? So you can click a button and pop up the information. You want to just see what the seller has to say. If it was listed sometime else with another agent before, you're going to want to go ahead and get this information and confirm it. We never want to trust another agent's data. So you get information about the house, clarify that, right? And then ask them what they like about the home. And the reason you ask them what they like about the home is because you're going to refer to it as you're doing the walkthrough, right? You're not going to say, oh yeah, the cabinets in the kitchen are nice. What you're going to say is, wow, those are really nice kitchen cabinets, right? You want to talk to them and let them hear the things that they like about the home from your mouth. Is that Jim McLean right there? What's up, handsome? I owe you a text. I owe you a text. Okay. Then we've got timing, right? So we want to find out timing, right? Are they going anywhere? And their motivation, right? These questions right here
Those
are
are the money makers right there.
right. Why
Yeah.
why are you selling? Where are you headed? When are you hoping to be there? Right? That's like
Yeah.
key ingredient, right? Now, here's the rest of this. This is all very helpful, not mandatory, but very helpful. Is this your home, a rental, or occupied or vacant? Good to know, right? Who else is involved in the sale of the home? You know, Murphy's Law kicks in this document right here. The one question you don't ask is the one that bites you in the butt when you get there. You don't ask if both people are going to be there. Sarah, you've done this before, I see. Okay, right? You don't ask if both people are going to be there, and then you get there, only one person's there. You don't ask them what they own the home, and you get there and they're upside down, you know, or you know, you don't confirm that they're moving in the next 90 days, and you sit down and they're like, well, we think we're going to move in 2 years. You're like,
Yeah.
So you want to know everything, right?
Yeah.
Now here's another one here. How would you rate your home? You had it. You remember what you put on? You know, what did you you remember you paid for it? Some people will tell you, some people won't. Have you had a market analysis? What do you think your home will sell for? Well, Wally, that's why I'm having you come over. Yep, great. I understand that, but let me ask, just so I can have an idea and where you think I should look. Can you give me a rough idea of what you think the price of your home is? You want to see how crazy they are, is really what you're trying to find out. Do you know your mortgage balance is? I really don't know, or they know, but you know, why do you need to know that? Well, I'm going to prepare a net sheet for you. I don't want to show you exactly how much you're going to walk away with after all things are said and done. This was from way back in the day. I wouldn't worry about this. Here's a big one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell your home?
I love that question.
All right. If it's anything less than an 8, 9, if it's less than an 8, 9, or 10, you go, what will it take to get you to a 10? If it's anything less than an 8, then an 8, then you're just going to ask them, you know, well, let me ask you a question. You know, if you're only at a 6 motivation, why are you considering selling your home? Right? You need to peel back the layers of the onion. Okay. Right. All right. And then here are the questions where the chickens come out. This is where all the chickens pop out their heads and they don't ask these questions. You mentioned you've had other market analysis. Have you spoken with any other agents about the sale? Great. You know, if you could make a promise to me, we're going to go put a lot of time and effort into getting ready for our appointment. Please do me a favor and don't list your home with anyone until you've heard what we have to offer that no one else can. Is that okay? Great. One last question. If everything sounds good and the price is acceptable, will you be open to putting your home in the market when we come out? Okay. I don't care what the answer is here. I just want to know what the answer is here. Because if it's a yes, then I'm woohoo, right? If it's like, I don't know. Okay. If it's a no, you know, they could be just protecting themselves, but you don't want them to listen to anybody else get there if you can help it. And you certainly right here, you want to go ahead and make sure that they're open to working with you. Okay. So you're going to want to do this. Here, let me just forward this to you there, Dr. Krim.
Yeah. A lot of these things, these resources, we're gonna be able to send out to you guys in an email after the event. Whoever invited you is gonna be able to send this out to you to make sure you get the downloadables, the websites, the different tools that Wally's referencing here as well.
Cool. So you go through, okay. So you go through your listing presentation, you gain commitments throughout the presentation, you get the yes, you get the yes, you get the yes. At some point, you're going to say, hey, based on what you've seen so far, are you as comfortable as I am that we're the best company to help you get your home sold? Or can you see how our system is going to go ahead and help you get the best deal? Or, are you, do you feel as comfortable working with me as I do with you, or whatever sort of tie on you can use there? And then you're going to say, okay, well, let's do this. I'd like to go ahead and talk about the price of the home. Let me ask if we can agree on price and the numbers make sense. Are you okay with moving forward and listing your home tonight? If they say great, if they say no, say, is there something that you were hoping to hear that you didn't hear yet? Most of the time what they're going to say is, geez, we really want to see what the price is. Right? Despite the fact that we know they should be picking us, right? Despite the fact that we know they should be picking us based on us, they're going to want to know the price. And you're like, okay, great. So again, you're going to start macro to micro. So this is I think is a great document you could use. We like real market reports is good to kind of go for a little bit more of a global look at what's going on, but nice for the whole city. And Raleigh has like 4,000 zip codes. You can put whatever zip code you want here. But anyway, so you're going to sit down with them and say, listen, you said you think your home is worth X. Okay, so here's the median prices in the area of all the homes that are being listed. Right now they were listed at $499,900. New homes are coming on the market are coming on at about $55,000 less. Here's a couple of other things, Mr. Sell. You can see the time on market is starting to go up, right? You can also see this. This is crazy, right? And if I can go in any city in the country right now, and it's got to be somewhere between 35 and 55%. Okay, over half the homes in the market are getting, okay, and some of them are getting relisted. And then you have this sentiment right here, like, hey, listen, it's basically 40% less than it was just 3 months ago. So you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that even though it is a seller's market and homes are still selling fairly quickly, we have to be really competitive on the price that we're going to go ahead and put your house out on the market. Here's another thing, right? We've got these, this that gives you kind of a basic absorption rate, which is kind of cool. Everybody knows what the absorption rate is.
Why don't you tell us, Wally?
Okay, so basically the absorption rate is the number of homes that is selling in a given period of time, right? So if I look back over the last 5 months and 10 houses have sold, that means 2 homes are selling a month, right? So that means that there's 20 homes in the market. I've got 10 months of inventory, right?
Yeah.
Basically like that. So the good news here is that 21 new, 15 absorbed, 36 new. So the absorption of the higher price homes, actually, for the most part, anything over 400,000 is, we're starting to see longer time on market, and the absorption is not, it's good, but it's not great. You see what I'm saying? Meaning everything that's coming on the market is not selling immediately or in in 35 days. Fair enough? So, but if you look right here, this price range, we can't even keep up with it.
Yeah.
So, and so it's just good for people to see. So here's the other thing. This like these little dashes are the 7-day numbers, right?
Yeah.
And this here is like the 90-day average. So this also is very helpful to let people see in the form of a chart, right? In the last 90 days, well, this is the last year, but this is the average lesson. But the thing is if you go, let me see here. If we go October, January, February, April, January, beginning of the year. So even since the beginning of the year, it's been pretty flat,
So I think something that'll be popping up too, Wally, is even though that you can clearly show people that the house prices are decreased, like the house prices are decreased, like you said, 39%, I believe it was. An objection that'll still pop up, I'm sure is, but this agent says I can list it for this amount, even after you show them the chart, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you utilize the chart as well as your expertise to be able to overcome that objection or that?
One of the things that I always ask people when I was doing my listing presentation, when it came to pricing, it says, I just want to confirm that you want me to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear to get your home sold. Is that correct?
Yeah. Can you say that again? Because that's a really important line.
I said I just want to make sure that I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear to get your home sold. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Wally.
And so I have your permission to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I get all that. I get that agreement up front, and then they say, "Hey, the other agent said I could sell it for more." I said, "Okay, what comparables did they? What did they show you? Can you tell me? Did they leave it with you? Because most times agents will leave it with you, and if they do, that's great, because then you can pick that thing apart like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And then you point to them and say, "Well, here's the deal." And what most other agents will do is they'll use, what will they use for comparables? What do they use? They use what?
Past sales and
yeah, they use currently listed homes and how useful are those. They use pending homes. They use
Yeah.
listings that are older. They use these listings out of the area. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the whole point of having that, of keeping that objection from coming up, is spending time up front going over the market data. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because when you do that and you show them everything, you kind of squeeze that objection out. But if somebody says that, I would just say, hey, listen, how did they arrive at that price that you could get it for more? Okay.
Yeah.
Because everything I've showed you here, you know, literally for the last, when we started talking and now in pricing, everything that I've shown you shows that your house is going to sell between this price and this price. Right? We're always going to give them a range and make them pick. Right?
Yeah.
Because you want to pick the price. So let me ask you a question. How did they arrive at that price? Right? Because nothing.
So what you just said is you always want to give them a range and have them select the price. Is that correct?
Yeah. So so here's how let's just talk globally about what the pricing looks like. Okay. So my presentation, I get an agreement that I'm the best guy or gal for the job.
Right.
Then I show them probably something like real market reports, which let me bring that up real quickly to you. They have an older report here, but it still tells the same story here. Please hold. So this is where Superman lives. His mom's a real estate agent. If you or not, well,
Clark Kent, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. So there's an older report, but so look, see this report in the back here, right? They basically break it down into whatever price range you want to, but it tells you in their price range. So let's just say we're back in Kirk's area and it's, you know, 450 to 499, right? So over this period of time, this is basically last 6 months, 22 homes have gone for sale. And granted, this is an older report, but 22 homes have sold.
Right.
I put on the market, days on market at 135, average list price was 469. Total number one under agreement was 7. So that means, you know, 24.1% of the home. So basically, you know, if you price your home properly, you got a 25% chance your home's going to go under agreement in whatever period of time this is, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, off market in the last 6 months, 7 have come off the market, 16 have sold, right? And then it basically tells you how long these that sold were on the market, average original list price, average list price now, and then what they sold for, and then list to sales ratio. So basically percentage right now, if you get one of these, it says 100, 105, 102, 103, 105, 100. And then here's the thing. Now what they've done is they put like a little color coded key down here, and red is a seller's market, orange is a seller's market, yellow is a neutral market, green is a buyer's market, blue is a really big buyer's market. And so they'll actually color code these. But all these right here, these would all be seller's markets. These would all be red. Right. And so you would start with this and explain to people, say, you think, you know, you told me earlier, you thought your house was worth here. Here's what's happening in your price range, you know, and then this number is probably going to be more like 90 right now or 80. Right. You know, and so if your home's priced properly, you know, there's an 80% chance it'll sell within the time frame we're looking at here, you know, and you can see that homes are selling at 100% of asking price when priced properly. But, you know, there's 4.6 months worth of inventory. You said you got to get out of here in 90 days. Fact of the matter is that if you want to be one of the homes that sells within 90 days, where do you have to price your home? Right? We got to price it competitively. Does that make sense? So I would go over that, and then I would go over the comparatives, comparables, and
where does that report come from again?
That one right there is real market reports. Okay. And then
and guys, we're going to be able to send those in an email after this too. The different reports in different places. We'll be able to send that to you right at, well, the person who invited you will be able to get you the downloadables. The downloadables, the websites that Wally's referring to here, guys. Yep.
And, so let's see here. So let's go down to Jim's market in that area right there. So, you know, same thing, like here it is, same thing, right? So I mean, I would bring this up before I went over the actual comparables. You know what I'm saying? I literally want to funnel them down from big information, so, you know, the national stuff, the regional stuff. You do all that before the presentation, and then when it comes to pricing, you drill down even further. Then you do the real market reports for the price ranges in your area, and then I would do this right here and go over this report. Same thing here, right? New homes coming to the market about $23,000 less. Time on market is up both median and average. Over half the homes are having their home price decrease because home prices have come down, right? I don't know how the hell this happened. That's crazy. 11% of the homes have been relisted, and the market sentiment, seller sentiment, you know, about you know, it's 424, yeah, it's about 40% less right here. So still a seller's market, right? You can see home prices trending downward, right?
Yeah.
See the homes that are coming on the market even less,
Yeah.
and absorption is still really good. All right. So anyway, and then you show them this, and just so that they can see what's happening, and then you go over the comparables with them, and then you do you basically say to them, say, based upon what I've shown you here with the comparables, and by the way, when you bring out comparables, the number one comparable you should show them last. So you show them the least comparable home to the most comparable home, and the most comparable or comparable home should be the price you think it's going to sell at, not the best sale that you've ever found. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sellers don't need any help justifying a higher price for their home, period, end of discussion. So when I show somebody the best home that's a comparable, I want to show them the one that I think is closest to the price. And if there's one aberration, there's some unicorn home that sold for $500,000 and you're in a neighborhood of $400,000 houses, you want to shred that and hope it never comes up, right? I want them to see that house because they're and then you're saying, hey, so this is the price, the range where I think your home's going to sell. Where do you think you should price the home? And then you're going to get, we should price it here. All right, and you're yay, that's yay. And if they say, well, we think we wanted to get more, how much more did you want to get? Right. And so my suggestion is before you get into that argument with them, just say, listen, let's do a net sheet at this highest price here and show them what they're going to net based on the highest price you're recommending. So let's just say they're going to walk away with $100,000. Right now they can see what they're going to walk away with, because $500,000 means nothing to somebody. But when you show them a net of 100 grand, if they say, geez, we wanted $10,000 more. Okay, well, $10,000 more, blah, 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 blah. That means you're going to walk with another $6,000.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, you want to, because the thing is you want to start working on smaller numbers, right? If I'm trying to negotiate 500, 525, that doesn't compute. But if I show them they're going to walk with 100,000 and, if they do everything, they're going to walk with under the $2,000 after all said and done with commissions and all that other stuff. I'd be like, you have to sell your home. If your home doesn't sell, what's your plan B? By the way, you never, ever, ever, never want to have them have a plan B.
Yeah. Well, Wally, let me ask you this. So you started off the call with something hot when you were like, man, I sold 72 homes in my first year. I know that got some people's ears burning a little bit. But if you tell us a little bit about what you were able to do to sell 72 homes in your first year, how you guys been? What's up? 14 months.
14 months.
A year and 2 months. Hey, let's just call it 65 and whatever it was. So 72 in your first 14 months, you're going to go help grow some of the biggest teams in the country too, through the listing side. So what are some of the ways that you're helping agents win more listings?
Okay, so I think number one, that you can't, like, it used to be like, I've known Jim for a long time. When Jim got in the business, I mean, you could be the expert in expireds, right? You could be the expert in one lead source, because most agents, weren't even hammering that hard. You could be, that guy or that gal.
Yeah.
These days, with all the agents that are in the marketplace, you really have to be able to understand how to convert a higher number of different lead sources. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So, if I were going to go after listing business, I'd be circle prospecting to fill my pipeline for the future. I would be doing FSBOs. I don't know if anybody's looked at FSBOs lately, but if you go look at Zillow FSBOs, you're going to see price reduced, 80 days in the market, 60 days in the market. I mean, they were ripe for the picking. All right. So
FSBOs really are ripe for the picking right now.
Yeah. Okay. So expireds, expireds are back on. Just in the DFW area alone, we're having there were 100 cancels like every week for a while, right? So I would be calling expireds, I'd be calling for sale by owners, I would be circle prospecting. I would be calling for rent by owners. Okay. Right. I mean, fact of the matter is that most of that crap from the from COVID is over, and there are a lot of people that got hung out to dry and probably can't. I have all kinds of scripts I can send you, Tamara.
Oh, Wally's got scripts for days.
I can make a bunch of scripts for you. So, and then calling for rent by owners and saying, hey, I noticed that you had the home for rent. Is it, the market's still really, really strong right now. Is there any reason you wouldn't sell your home? Well, I'm still thinking I can make the money on it. I mean, hey, how did COVID treat you? How'd that go? Oh, it's, create some pain for them. Hey, listen, people are still getting, really, really good prices for your home. If I could find a buyer that's want to pay your price and close at a time acceptable to you, would you be open to letting me show you how I can do that for you? Right. Absentee owners are the same thing. What I'm saying? So I would have those all in my arsenal. So expireds with Johns, for sale by owners, circle prospecting, absentee owners, and for rent by owners. I would be calling those on a consistent basis. Pardon me?
No, I was saying, yeah.
So then in addition to that, I would put an hour a day to call in my past clients in Sphere. My recommendation is you pick 250 people and you you call 4 of them a day on business day. So on average, it's about 62 work days, meaning Mondays through Fridays a quarter. If you call 4 people a day, that's about 250 people, 240 and change. I'd call 4 people a day, either talk to them and leave a message and then send them a handwritten note. And I would just do that once a quarter to kind of get some of that better business, you know?
Yeah.
And then I would make sure that I was online on Facebook, or, you know, I mean, Facebook still is the best place to connect with people. I mean, Instagram is really picking up, TikTok is picking up, but the research says that Facebook is still the place to go to connect with people by, I know it's like 28% to like 24, 23% for Instagram. And I would make sure that I posted every listing that I put under agreement, every listing that I took, every listing that I sold. I put every testimonial that I could there. And I would also be doing educational videos and articles about how to sell your home and price it in a transitioning market to build that credibility, and make sure that you connect with people. Every lead you get, you connect with them on Facebook so you can stay in touch with them there.
Yeah, and I think you'd be utilizing some of these reports and data and different sources that you use, but not just utilizing the numbers, but the expert will be able to explain more so what it means. What does this mean to that? Yeah.
Yeah, like right, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Juan.
So all the stuff that I showed you today, you know, that's gonna make you be the expert. You're gonna be able to show people that you're expert, that you're the expert. Because I guarantee you, most other agents are not going to go in and sit down with people and go over that level of detail. They're going to bring some, you know, 80-page thick CMA that looks like they killed an entire rainforest to make, you know.
Yeah.
And they're going to go.
Every agent is going to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. And they're just going to drop it on. They're going to talk about, you know, and then, you know, they're not going to say, would you like to price your house? They're going to say, I think your house is worth this. What's your commission? This. Okay, great. Thanks. You know, and they're not going to differentiate themselves. So I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for you to get on top of the market and stay on top of the market. So there's 2 sites I didn't show, but I would go look at drhousingbubble.com, DOCTOR, housingbubble.com. I look at that once a month. And then I would go look at for Altos Research, that place I just showed you. You can become a member for free, and you can sign up for Mike Simonson's weekly video. And every week he sends out about an 8-minute video when he goes over all the different aspects of what's going on in the market, new homes in the market, solds, time on the market, trends, and that's everything you need. And if you get that, keeping current matters and real
keeping current matters for sure.
Just look at that once a month. You will know everything you need to know. And then once you find out something's timing and motivation, you know, you can then go ahead and bring it back to it. So again, somebody says, hey, I want to move, you know, we're at the point now where we hit the summer peak already. You're either back at school or you're going to be back at school in the next week or two. And then we got a little lull, and then sometimes around September 15th, things are going to be picked back up, and we'll go to mid-October, and then so we got one more burst here. So, you know, in another month or so, we're going to be selling houses for, you know, the end of the year next year. So, but you have to be able to articulate to people, you know, listen, it's taking longer for homes to sell. You got to be more competitive with pricing your home. And this is why when we go on listing appointments, we only want to meet with people who have a life event, a birth, a death, getting a job, leaving a job, divorce, marriage, retirement, relocation, school, because that way when you meet with them, you know they're going to sell. Okay, if they don't have that, don't go and meet with them. Okay, you don't need any more friends that just want to so. And then the other thing is being able then to articulate what's happening in the marketplace and using the data you shared with them. Hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to price my house, you know, $50,000 over. You know, hey, listen, if this was, you know, last October, I would be happy to let you do that. But what I've shown you, you can see that all the new homes coming to the market are coming on the market at $45,000 less than any of the new homes on the market. You can see this. You can also see that 50% of the homes that are being listed that have been listed have had a price reduction. You can also see that the seller's market has gone from a factor of 92 down to a factor of 55. My question, and ask them, don't tell them, my question for you is, I'm sorry, I live next to a garage and some guy's working on his boat next door. I apologize for that if you can hear that.
No, you're good.
So anyway, and then you ask them, if you price your home at this price and it doesn't sell, what's that going to do for you as far as meeting your goals of getting to be with your grandkids for Thanksgiving? If you don't sell, right? Don't say if you don't sell your home, you price it wrong, you're not going to see your grandkids. That does not compute, right?
Right.
Our brains are literally wired to answer questions. If I say, what color are your eyes? You're going to say whatever color they are, right? If you ask somebody a question, there are chemical and electronic and physical changes that go on in our brain, like that actually require us to come up with an answer that will resonate with us, right? And if I say, because don't touch the stove, you're gonna get burned. Okay. My daughter Emma, 2 years old, puts her finger on the stove, just doesn't put it on. She puts it on and holds it on, right? I remember this, like,
Yeah.
so the point is if you don't sell your home in the next 45 days and get to, Raleigh, North Carolina to go be with your kids for Thanksgiving and Christmas, how's that going to impact your family? Okay. If we put your home at this price and you don't walk away with $100,000 that you say you need to go ahead and buy your next home, how does that impact your plans? What's going to happen, right? Get emotional, right? Right? People make decisions. They make decisions with emotion and they justify with logic. So use their motivation against them, right? Use their words against them. If this doesn't happen, what's going to happen? How's that going to impact you? What's going to happen then? How's it going to feel? Right? Do you really, you told me you didn't want to shovel snow again this year. If you overprice your home and it doesn't sell and you go into November, December, you told me you didn't want to shovel snow again. You want to shovel snow again? Right?
Right.
I mean, think about it. Salt and ice and shoveling and your back and all that stuff. I mean, do you really want to do that? You can play dirty like that. You should play dirty like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're telling you they want to do something. You've got to use their words against them as nicely as you can.
Yeah, and something I want to get into, because we have some questions that are down here that we'll get into right after this. So we've been seeing your questions, guys. We'll make sure we get to them. But Wally, I want to ask you, something I think you do better than anybody else that I've seen, and especially being in the call center industry, I've listened to a bunch of people talk about this. I've heard a bunch of people share different seminars, different places. But getting over call reluctance and getting in the right mindset to this. I know you can talk for hours topic alone, but can you give us something that people will be able to walk away with that would help them start to get over some of that?
Hey, Brian, can I share your story? Okay, Brian was my very, 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 very first call reluctance client. Okay, so Brian, show everybody your arms. Right? Okay. That's like you got to sit down and take some pain for that, right? The tribal tattoos, they hurt. Okay. So Brian's been a firefighter for about 25 years now? 20? Yeah, so he's been a firefighter.
Brian?
Yeah, Brian. So Brian's right down here, South Carolina wave. That's Brian right there. Okay. So Brian's a firefighter, and he he's been my client now for a little over 2 years. And so we went through the first 90 days and got his business set up, and I said, okay, it's time to make some calls. And he goes, I don't make calls. I go, what do you mean you don't make calls? He goes, I don't want to call. I don't like to pick up the phone. I go, wait a second. I said, you go in and out of burning buildings 5 times. You save people's lives on the sidewalk. You put your life on the line practically every day, and you don't want to pick up a 6-ounce piece of plastic. He goes, nope. I'm like, okay. And so, we started talking, and I kind of took him through the process that I took him through, and we kind of identified the source of where the call reluctance was. And so that it's like solving any problem, awareness is your best friend. You've got to become aware of what the challenge is, right? So then you can go attack it, right? So we figured out where the call reluctance came from, and then we did some work on him. You know what I'm saying? He went and did some work on the reasons behind why he had call reluctance. And for him, it was just kind of like a belief system. He's like, well, shit, if I can do this, if I can save somebody's life on the sidewalk, I certainly can pick up the phone and call people. And he made the mental and emotional leap that he had to make. And then one day he called me and says, hey, I just listed a FSBO for $500,000. I go, what? I go, where'd you get that? He goes, well, I was prospecting.
Let's go.
No kidding. And so the guy ended up listing with him, and actually he picked up another home from it. But the better story is that Brian's been now, because of what he's been doing, not just what he's doing, but he's been an Icon agent 2 years in a row. Okay, as a quasi part-time agent. I mean, he's firefighter 2 days a week, and so he's been an Icon agent.
Let's go.
Right. So, I mean, and it's the work that he's done. But so I'm just going to give you like 5 quick things. So, if you want to overcome sales call reluctance, the first thing you have to do is you got to find out where it is. Right. So you got to go and find out what the problem is. You got to become aware of it. If you want to find out where your call reluctance comes from, if you're a procrastinator, if you're a perfectionist, if you've got self-doubt, self-worth issues, self-sabotage, you just got to take out a 5x7 note card and you just got to ask, what is the cause of my sales call reluctance? That's all you got to do. And your subconscious mind remembers everything you've tasted, touched, smelled, heard, or seen, and it'll tell you exactly where it comes from. It was probably from something that happened when you were a kid. All right. Then after that, you've got to, but once you become aware, you got to go ahead and start processing the emotions that come up, because T. Harv Eker is he's a Canadian personal development expert. He calls it TFARD: thoughts, feelings, actions, results. Right? We get a trigger, we get a thought, and then a feeling comes up as a result of it. And then when there's an action, we either take action or don't, and then we get a result, which is usually not the one we want. Right? So if and what happens is for most people, especially addicts, it's thought, drink, thought, drugs, thought, smoke. For procrastinators and perfectionists, it's thought, run away, thought, go clean. All of a sudden that sink full of dishes is a huge priority, right? Or right, that garage that's a mess all of a sudden needs to be cleaned worse than anything.
Like right now, it has to be done.
Right now, like you haven't touched that you've driven by it 15 times and you parked, oh my God, I go clean it, right? So what you have to do is it's a 3-step process.
That's good.
When the feeling comes up, you've got to be aware of what that emotion is. Then you've got to say, okay, what's it coming from? Why is it happening? And then you've got to become present or mindful, which is nothing more than just really focusing on what's happening right now. And then once you got to reprogram your brain. If you've never done Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning, I highly recommend it, because that is a deliberate, intentional daily activity that reprograms your brain to get you to do the things you want to do when you want to do it. My man Jim McLean up here, he's also a client of mine, a good friend of mine. Jim, what are you like, 91 now, Jim? How old are you? What are you 72?
71.
71, okay.
71.
So Jim's been in the business a long time, right? He was selling 300 homes a year.
I was born in 1951.
Yeah.
James is experienced.
I didn't know you were here at the time, or I would have said that you and Sarah were both born then. So anyway, so Jim was at the height of his business was selling over 300 homes a year. Wow. And then some all of a sudden something happened and it triggered some crap from when he was a kid, and he stopped being able to pick up the phone. He couldn't pick up the phone. And so we went and found out what it was. He worked through it and he erased it, and now you're back on the phone. He's like, I'm like a madman. His business is back up where he wants it to be. So, it's a matter of finding out what it is and reprogramming your brain to tell yourself who you want to be, where you want to be, why you want to be that. And then the fourth step is figuring out what drives you. And the last step is really finding out what your true why is.
Yep.
I love it.
Exactly why you do that. So that's kind of the 5-step process. But here's what I'm telling you. 2 things. If you have any sort of sales call reluctance, if you're a procrastinator, perfectionist, or something like that, it's not going to go away on its own. You got to do some work. Okay. But when you do the work, Brian and Jim, it works, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's it.
I love it. All right, Wally. It's all Wally.
It is.
Guys, so we're going to get to some of your questions here, Wally. So I know Sarah Ware, if you want to go ahead and unmute.
Hold on. It's not on me. I'm a coach, but I can only tell people what to do.
Yeah.
Either you do it or you don't. And if you do it, it works. And if you don't, then, so it's really them more than it is me. All right. Questions.
Sarah, you had a question here early on. Sarah, you want to unmute and go ahead and voice your question for us?
Yes, I'm getting a lot in Knoxville about sellers that were missing the boat. And if I was a better agent, why can't I get them that same price if it's the same house? Which obviously you just want to hit them across the head. But that's the main objection right now, that they're just past it so that they can have me work harder and get it.
I'm sorry. So what is the actual objection? That you suck, or
no?
Seriously, what's the actual objection? What do they say specifically?
How am I going to get that price if they're not going to list it with me unless I'll get to that price? But you addressed it a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is it's all about the motivation. You know what I'm saying? If they have a legitimate motivation, you can have a conversation with them and kind of paint them into a corner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's role play this a little bit. How about that? Okay. Give me a price. Give me a price. Let's say price. What price do they want?
$550.
And what's it worth?
$475.
Okay, great. So basically, Sarah, you told me you wanted to move. Give me their motivation.
They wanted the highest price. They'd move out, they'd downsize if they could get that price, that elusive.
Are you definitely so Sarah, you guys are downsizing, right?
Yes.
Why are you downsizing?
Well, I realized that I could get a lot for my house and we could go on a couple vacations. We could buy something smaller that was closer to the beach.
But why are you downsizing specifically? Like what's the main reason for downsizing?
I saw how much I could get on the market on Zillow. They let me know it's going to be great.
Okay. So what you're saying is you're really not downsizing. You just open a cash in.
Yes.
All right. So, we talked about this. I think your home's going to sell between 450 and 475, right? And at that, you're going to walk away with, how much were they going to walk away with?
$300,000 and $400,000.
So you're going to walk away with $400,000. Okay. So is $400,000 enough for you to accomplish what you want to do, to go ahead and take some vacations and move to the beach and downsize?
I see what you're saying.
Oh, no,
I
no,
know. I need to, the more
All right,
confidence.
let's keep going. Let's keep it going a little bit. I think there's another step to this.
Okay, we're role playing.
So yes, Wally, that would be.
So Nick took over for you. So great. So Nick, so $400,000 is enough for you to do what you need to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, that should be enough.
So I guess my question is, if we price your home too high and it doesn't sell, or if it takes a while to sell, because when you overprice your home, Nick, you have to reduce the price twice, once to get it where people are going to make you offers, and then likely again when you get the offer. So it's probably going to sell for less than $475. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess my question is if you sell and you get $350 instead of $400,000, a whole $50,000 less, how is that going to impact your decision to go on vacation and for you to buy a house at the beach and whatnot?
That was significantly impacted. Yeah.
Exactly.
Woo!
Yeah, and then look, and so here's the thing, Nick. Like, we're not testing my ability to get your home sold and to market it, because it's proven. What we're testing is what the market's going to give you for your home, right? So we'll go ahead and put on the market. I think it's
Wow.
$475. I really think it'll sell at that. But at 500, 550, at 550, you're looking at a much smaller potential number of buyers, which means it's a lot less likely we're going to get an offer. So do you think if we price it that high, you're going to get the offer you want to get you to the beach and do all the things you want to do? The answer is
No.
no.
Well, I really like what you said there. We're not testing my ability to sell your home for the highest price. We're testing what the market will be able to give you for your home.
Right. And at the end of the day,
That was, woo.
Thank you. And at the end of the day, in order to be a successful negotiator,
Yeah.
they're aware, what do you have to be able to do?
Keep talking, apparently,
Nope,
not
nope.
stop.
That's right. But at some point, what do you have to be able to do if you're going to negotiate with somebody? You
Close
must be able to walk away,
Yeah.
right? You must be able to say, listen, I would love to sell your home. I believe at 475, we could get it sold to 475 by the information I showed you. I'm confident we can do that in the next 30 to 45 days. But I'm not in the job of taking listings. I'm in the job of taking people's listings and getting their home sold. And I want to do a good job for you, and taking your listing at 550,
Yeah.
not I consider to be doing a good job. So I'd like to part ways friends, and and then walk away. And if they stop you at
Yeah.
the door, and if they don't, then you saved yourself $1,500 in marketing and time.
Right.
Does that help?
Hey, Wally, thank you. Yeah, that helps me. Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Who's next?
All right, so Wally, we got another question. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and unmute so that way we can get the full question. So Ronnie asked, well, do you personalize the graphics and data or go right to the site to show them the information?
Yeah, you can Ronnie, good question. You can actually customize real market reports.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can customize that. You send it to them. I think it's like $2.99 up front, and it's like $25 a month for your report in one zip code or each zip code. You can also go ahead and customize KCM, because they send you a PowerPoint presentation where you can snap your logo on that. Everything else, I think, gives you credibility, because you're like, hey, I've got, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. I'm going to show you this. It shows that you're resourceful. This is the company that I pay to do this. And, I don't think you need to personalize everything, because
Yeah.
I think you need to be able to show people that you're resourceful enough to go and get other stuff for them. That help?
I like it.
Gotcha.
Yep, I think he said thank you below. And guys, all the sites, the information that Wally covered, some of the scripts too, we're going to be able to throw ahead in an email, be able to send to you guys after this. Whoever invited you guys, well, they're going to be able to send you out the downloadables, including the sites on some of the more information. So, Wally, another question that we have here. Let me see who asked this. We have Cheryl. Cheryl, what is it? And then here's what she asked. What is a good response to this agent who will sell it for 4% reduced commission?
So somebody else said they would do it for 4.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing to remember here is handling this objection starts way
before.
Right. So, you're doing your presentation, you're like, hey, for instance, say, listen, so, you talk about staging and photography and home warranties, and, we call it the certified wise buy system, right? Warranty, inspection, staging, and expert advice, right? You get their agreement that, hey, if I'm going to get more money for my home, that I've got to go ahead and do these things to attract a larger number of buyers, a larger number of the right buyers, right? So that I do this, and this, you can see how this is going to add value to get you more money for your home. You can see how this does get you more value for your home, and you're going to get yes.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end and you're going to say, okay. And they're going to say, well, somebody else said they would do it for 4%. Said, I can appreciate that. But when we talked earlier, you said that having X, Y, and Z in place to get your home sold would drive more buyers to your door, more of the right buyers, because price is a function of supply and demand. And the more demand I can drive up your home, the better chance I have of getting the price you're looking for, correct? Yes, well, in order for me to do that, I can't do it for 4%, right? That makes sense, because in order to do those things, it costs more money. But the good news is you're going to walk away with more money. Now, if you do in fact get more money for your home than other agents in your marketplace, which you should track, then you can certainly do the math for them and show them a net sheet at your margin, and net sheet at somebody else's margin, and show them how much they're going to walk away with. And then at the end of the day, if you have to, offer them a price guarantee. And then I would just say, hey, listen, here's the deal. I really believe that your home will sell at this price, and I'm willing to guarantee you that if it doesn't sell this price, then I will reduce my fee afterwards. But I would like the opportunity to go ahead and at least earn my fee. Excuse me. Here's what I'll do. I'll list it at this, we'll list it at this price. I'll write in here that if this doesn't happen, then I'll go ahead and take a half a point off. Don't go full points at a time, do a half a point. Try a half a point, right? And then we both win. If it sells at that price, we both win. And then if it doesn't, then when you lose, I lose too.
I love it.
Just make sure you can sell it at that price. You know?
Yeah.
And again,
Wally, go.
one other quick thing, you can do the same. You can say the same thing here. Listen, if you hire somebody, you know, we used to ask this question. Let me ask you a question. If you had to go to LA, you know, would you get on a plane that only had enough gas, enough fuel to get to Chicago? Well, no, I wouldn't. Well, then why would you work with an agent that doesn't do what they need to do and spend enough money to get you the money?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
You know, right. So, you know, I mean, you can use that as an example too, you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, do you agree that price is a function of supply and demand? I do. Great. So then the more demand I can drive up in your home, the better chance we can get you a better price. Yes. In order to do that, we've got to spend more so we can do that. That's all. What else?
Wally, so that was the question that we had time for here today. I believe that was all that we had in the chat. And then guys, again, the person who invited you, you will be receiving an email from them, which includes the links that Wally was referring to, some of the scripts, and some more information on him as well. Wally, do you have any closing thoughts for us here today? Something you can leave them off with in order to help them get more listings, price the home right to sell.
So here's the thing, and I keep talking about this because I look back at what happened in, you know, 7, 8, 9, all the way through that. Some of the most successful, some of the most wealthy, some of the most effective real estate agents in the market today actually worked through the Great Recession and learned to do what they needed to do when they needed to do it. Does that make sense? And so if you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, if you make your calls, if you follow what Nick's telling you to do, and you work consistently, you'll make through whatever's happening now. And all the agents that don't are going to be gone, and there'll be no competition. Promise.
Yeah, we dominate. We don't compete.
That's right.
Way to go, Wally. Hey, man, I appreciate you so much for hopping on here and adding value to everybody. And like we said, be on the lookout from the email from the person who invited you. We'll have the links, information, some of the scripts that Wally was referring to. Who knows? Wally might even throw in a bonus. But guys, Wally, thank you so much for being here. And guys, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys. Thanks. Take care.